Hey everyone, it's Sunday today, so that means it's time to sit down and chat all things ChatGPT and catch up with the news in the week. This week is pretty interesting because we're talking about all the players, all the big key players that haven't really been mentioned lately. We're talking Google and Amazon this week in the news. Let's talk about Amazon first. So Amazon has announced some new tools for building generative AI applications, including Amazon Bedrock and Amazon Titan models. Now for Bedrock, this provides API to access foundational models, making it easier for customers to build and scale AI applications, which is pretty big if you consider it being as a competitive play for Microsoft and its Azure space. With this Bedrock, it allows users to find the right model, privately customize it with their data, and integrate it and deploy it using familiar AWS tools. The other piece of news on Amazon's side with some complicated jargon is that Amazon has announced the general availability of Amazon EC2 TR-N1, and I hope that there is an easier and sexier way of saying that. The essential point of this is that there's these instances that offer cost-effective cloud infrastructure for generative AI. To bring it back to a consulting and business focus, I can definitely see some interesting things coming down the pipeline from Amazon's announcement of Bedrock and its more efficient cloud computing instances. The first would be the infrastructure optimization. So I can imagine that Bedrock can help organizations optimize their infrastructure, making it more efficient, cost-effective, and scalable. The second that I could imagine that would be useful in this scenario would be, of course, the access to artificial intelligence and machine learning model development for organizations. So I can imagine that Bedrock's capabilities can accelerate the development and deployment of AI or machine learning models and applications, allowing organizations to really harness the power of their own data and drive innovation with their private data. And I can imagine that consultants may have a use here in guiding businesses and selecting the most appropriate models or applications and really making sure that these models are integrated into workflows, processes, and ensuring that the models are robust and reliable for the organization's needs. At the end of the day, I think this is really cool on 2 points. The first is really like the democratization of AI. Now, I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, Amazon Bedrock. However, I will say that making this available for organizations makes it so mid to smaller organizations have access to customizing and deploying AI models, which makes it so much easier, so much more accessible in allowing businesses of all sizes to harness the power of AI to really implement it. And I think that's nifty. Let's turn our attention over to Google now. Google in the past has had some lackluster news when it comes to the generative AI race, so much so that I felt a bit of pity, which is silly to feel pity for a billion-dollar organization, but whatever. In the first bit of news, Alphabet's two major AI teams, DeepMind and Google Brain, are now merging to form Google DeepMind. To give some background context, Google acquired DeepMind, which is a UK AI research lab, in 2014. And it's operated independently of Alphabet ever since. DeepMind gained a bit of fame through its breakthroughs like AlphaGo, tackled challenges such as protein folding, did some voice synthesis and other things like that, whereas Google Brain mainly focused on research and improvements on existing Google products. So the merger of DeepMind and Google Brain aims to build more capable AI systems with more safety, more responsibility, and they may develop some AI products to sell. So in this same topic, recent reports have suggested that Google is under pressure and there is more code red happening because Samsung has considered switching to Microsoft's Bing search engine for its Galaxy smartphones. So in response, Google is thinking, okay, oh my gosh, we need to upgrade our search engine with AI features. Let's call it Project Magi. Ta-da! So Project Magi is being developed by a team of over 160 employees, and its aim is to add new features to Google Search, probably integrating what we saw with Google Bard. And they want to take it one step further, and they want to enable users to complete transactions, such as buying shoes, booking flights, kind of the task execution that we've talked about in previous weekend update videos. By incorporating this, and I think that they can incorporate more search ads, etc., this might open up a new revenue stream for Google. With this, we are going to potentially see a debut of this in May at the annual Google I/O Developers Conference. So we'll have to stay tuned to see how that works. And there's a pigeon on my windowsill. Hey. Security firm Cyber Angel has revealed that a fake ChatGPT application has compromised the accounts of over 4 million users, and the software was distributed as a Chrome extension and as a Windows desktop application. This is really a kind of another shout out and another warning that you should be very mindful and very wary of using third-party ChatGPT apps. In fact, I recommend to just only use the website. Now, the interesting thing about this was that for Facebook users, apparently the fake application locks users out of their Facebook account and changes their name and user profile to resemble Lily Collins, the actress from Emily in Paris. Actually, I learned French from my gym teacher in the middle of nowhere in Canada. So if I speak it, I will most likely offend people that speak French. So let's talk about some other news. Actually, speaking of Canada, this is a nice segue to talk about the next piece of news, which is that a viral song called Heart on My Sleeve features an AI-generated voice of both Drake and The Weeknd, shining stars of Canadian pop culture. Now, the song was created by an anonymous TikTok user called Ghostwriter977, which is ironic that their name is Ghostwriter, but hey, whatever. And it gained millions of views and streams and was released on various platforms before being removed. Universal Music Group, the label that Drake and The Weeknd are under, invoked copyright violation to get platforms to take the song down. They said that the training of generative AI using our artists' music, which represents both a breach of our agreements and violation of copyright law, as well as the availability of infringing content created with generative AI on DSPs, begs the question as to which side of history all stakeholders in the music ecosystem want to be on: the side of the artists, fans, and human creative expression, or the side of deepfakes, fraud, and denying artists their due compensation. Which, if we know anything about compensation in the record and royalty world and streaming, this is a little on the nose. Other voices have contributed, saying that this is interesting because the cat is now out of the bag and is not going back in. There's going to be a ton of legal, ethical, and artistic considerations in this new landscape. Now, if you are working in business or if you're working in this industry, this has a lot of implications. The first is really navigating the landscape, advising on potential applications, and really the risks in using AI-generated content. The other is the legal landscape. So really being informed of ongoing legal developments, compliance with existing regulations, and preparing for future changes regarding AI and AI in the copyright music landscape. I think another interesting perspective is actually the ethics. The TikTok user does kind of raise questions implicitly about the ethics of using AI-generated content when it involves replicating voices of well-known artists. I mean, we have movie studios that say, sign with us, but you have to sign away your likeness, that we can use you in generated content that you're not acting in. So there is food for thought on both sides, to be honest. And lastly, I think as well, the copyright issues are huge. Part of me is just like, oh, I wish I was a copyright lawyer because this is a very exciting space. But then, no. In other news, move over Jim Cramer. There have been 2 recent papers that have demonstrated ChatGPT's impressive capabilities for finance-related things involving interpreting the Federal Reserve statements as hawkish or dovish, and analyzing corporate news headlines and predicting stock price movements. Now, I don't have the knowledge to give you a full play-by-play and in-depth scope of what this means. However, the big takeaway is that there is a statistical link that they found between the AI's interpretation and the subsequent stock price moves. What this means is that it can open up the whole world of information and make tech more accessible to a broader community of finance pros. If you do this based on this video, please let me know, and just send me a quiet little donation. We are all being uplifted together through your stock market plays. No. Now let's talk about some interesting developments in the world of computer vision called SAM, or Segment Anything Model. And this is brought to us by Hugging Face, a company that sounds like it is a villain in an Aliens movie. So SAM was introduced in a paper called Segment Anything, and it's a model that is designed to predict segmentation masks for any object of interest in an image. So what it means is that it can look at a photo and then identify and separate the different objects in a picture, which can of course be very useful for different applications. So the first 3 key points, its versatility, its improved performance, and the single mass prediction for multiple points could be really interesting for industries such as autonomous vehicle driving, meaning that this SAM model could be used to identify many different things all at once, such as pedestrians, cyclists, etc., improving navigation and reducing the collision frequency. I think it could also result in some big changes in the healthcare field, so especially medical imaging, actually. So the SAM could be applied to things like MRIs, X-rays, CT scans, and help assist doctors in diagnosing various conditions. Maybe even agriculture, actually, identifying different crops, maybe identifying different pests and diseases, and then kind of doing an autonomous pest spray, yield prediction, etc. So I'm curious about that. And I can imagine that there's so many more applications of this. And in my life this week, there's a couple cool things. The first is that I met with people from a university to show and demonstrate how to use ChatGPT to develop and restructure, reshape, and re-envision a new curriculum. Now, with that being said, we used it for ideating purposes, and it wasn't something that was just okay, let's print out the input, copy paste, we have done our job. But nevertheless, it was really cool to demonstrate the tool that ChatGPT is in different circumstances. And the second piece of news, it's my birthday today, so I'm going to have a low-key celebration, just a nice little brunch, and take it pretty easy. So that is what happens when you're in your mid-30s. You just begin to want quiet and peace and reflect on all the good. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you want more Sunday news each week, go ahead, like, subscribe. That will help a lot. And yeah, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye.